All right, I think we're on. You've kind of got me up here in the corner. I don't think that's necessary, but anyway, usually I send an announcement, but I'm gonna record this and put it in an announcement. All right, so that you all can watch it 4 or 5 minutes. That's all it's going to be. All right, we're off to a pretty good start actually. So especially since a lot of you are late joining, and we're still joining students as we speak. And I have just opened up the chapter two, all of chapter two, and it is due November 11th. That's Veterans Day, something very close and dear to my retired Marine heart. And so um, I probably should have made it to 12th or something like that, but most of you can get this done pretty quickly. Or well, I have no idea. All right, but we are getting into the a little more physics stuff here. Well, I guess you did quite a bit of physics on the first one too, because you were doing um, SI units and speed and velocity, and we'll look some more at speed and velocity and things like that. Okay, so um, what is this chapter about? I just kind of want to give you a quick overview. So the chapter learn, and as you can see here, it ends November 11th. My screen looks different than yours. Yours should be green over here now that you can get into this. Now, one of the things I've changed, I finally learned that if you turn it in, if you try and go to the assignment after like at midnight on November 12th, you will not be able to get into it. All right, you won't be able to see it. Now, I'm not an ogre, I'm not mean, I will extend you, but to be honest, it used to go into review mode, and students would think, oh, good, it's still there, boom. And they try and answer, and then they get all frustrated because in review mode, it would let you answer the questions, but it wouldn't take your answer. And I probably sent 50, 60 emails a semester saying, I've told you and told you. I've told the class a million times. When you're in review mode, you cannot answer the questions. Stop trying. All right. So I've just taken away the temptation to even try. So you'll have to come to me and get an extension if it's warranted. All right. So learning objectives, we're going to be talking about apply Newton's laws, and we'll be able to apply Newton's first law, which is for every action, there is a reaction of equal magnitude in the opposite direction. That's kind of a mouthful. I know people say for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's not true. There's no such thing as equal and opposite. If I take $2 out of the bank, I've got minus $2 now in my bank account. The positive 2 in my pocket and the minus 2 in the bank are not the same. Okay, so there, ergo, it's in direction is very important in physics. Which direction are you going? All right, and so we'll be able to apply that, and you're going to see some interesting things too. And be able to apply Newton's second law to determine the acceleration, mass, or force on an object to solve a problem. Recall Newton's third laws conceptually and be able to identify force, action, reaction pairs. Okay, so Newton's first law is an object in motion is going to stay. I was wrong. I jumped right to the third law when I was saying for every action there's a reaction of equal magnitude in the opposite direction. Newton's first law says that an object, and we got to go out to deep dark space. I guess this is all in my video parts of the lecture, okay, that I want you to watch so that you get the idea, all right, of what's going on. So, but an object wants to stay at rest unless acted upon by a force, and then once it's and you got to get yourself away from Earth. You got to think way out in deep dark space, and this is where Newton went way beyond everybody else because the Aristotle notion of motion was that everything wants to come to a stop. Why? Because all Aristotle knew was what was going on there on Earth. When he rolled a marble or something like that, a little round ball, eventually it came to a stop, regardless if he rolled it on a marble floor, in the sand, whatever. And things just, his wife would say, hey, I need that urn moved over from there to there. Well, he'd have to move it. It didn't want to move. And so he said, everything wants to stay stationary. And he called that inertia. Newton used it, said, hey, okay, that's good. We'll call it inertia. And inertia is actually the mass of something. Mass and weight are two different things too. Keep that in mind. All right. And I don't want to get into teaching. I just love teaching physics. So I'll start riffing and get into the whole thing. Here are the learning objectives that are required. And so here we go. Now, so we'll learn about what is a force. One thing I wanted to caution you about that I got from several students. Now, watch the videos and then follow along and answer the questions. Okay. I probably should have made this multiple choice. That'd be easier than that. Now, one of the things is, see this ugly number here? Don't worry about it. That is actually the gravitational constant. That is not what we're going to talk about when we say small g, which represents 9.8 meters per second squared, which is the gravitational pull that we feel here on the Earth. Okay, in other words, our bodies all the time are feeling this 9.8 meters per second squared pull towards the center of the Earth. Okay, this is Newton's gravitational constant. All right, that gets the, see, it's a Newton meters squared per second per kilogram squared. I just threw that in there, just, I don't know, I guess being silly or something. So there we go. All right, so now, so you go through, but oh, this woodpecker video is pretty interesting. But for some of you that are math phobic and algebra phobic, don't be afraid of this guy. I just threw that up there because some of my students have already had physics 1 at 210 and 220. I know who you are. And welcome aboard. I think it's great. All right. Anyway. All right. Okay, and here's the videos where I explain the work. All right, and you can enlarge those. You can enlarge those. And some of these, if you go to the video, it might say, okay, this one we can actually watch. Okay, all right. I know that's a lot of football, sorry. But for those of you who are like, hey, what about soccer? What about gymnastics? I used to have a little more varied thing, but all right. Okay. Then we get into the second law, part two, the third law of motion. Then these kinematic equations are a little bit tricky for students, all right? But it'll be okay. You will get it. You will be fine. As long as you follow, and I always add explanations. And see, the notes from here, I want to make clear, the notes from this stuff is this, okay? Is this. So what I'm writing here is what this is, all right? Okay, so what I'm writing here is this. Here's a better picture of it. All right. And then there's just some nice videos. And then you take the quiz. And this is all due November 11th. And I can show you how we can find out exactly. We'll go to details. We'll go to edit. And here it is. I started it November 2nd at 3:24 p.m. this afternoon. It's now 3:48. And it's due November 11th. All right, the day after the Marine Corps birthday ball, which I'm not going to. I think they've all been canceled anyway. At 11:59 p.m. Okay, midnight was a terrible time. You know why? Because people think that midnight tonight is still almost 8 hours away. It's not. That's midnight for tomorrow. So midnight was always bad. It was always a bad time. All right, so we're doing okay. Now, here's the next thing I get is, hey, I did my work and it showed up. You know, I've got grades on in my grade book on Top Hat, but nothing's in Canvas. That's because I haven't synced the grades yet. Okay, I go to. You want to see how the sausage? No, I can't show you how this because you'll see students' grades, and some students have just started. They've just joined us and started, and it could be embarrassing. But anyway, there's a thing on there where I click over here and go sync the. You want to sync the grades? Yes, I want to sync the grades to Canvas. So I sync the grades to Canvas, and you know what? It works for about 80% of you because 20% of you didn't put in the right URL or right username or something. Sometimes it just acts funny. It's and one of the problems that we have, and I hate to go on and on, and I kind of am here. We've got three agencies that are working with each other to pull this off. We've got Top Hat, we've got Canvas, and we've got LMS. And LMS is a whole different company that runs how to sync things from like Top Hat or Clicker or something like that over to Canvas or Blackboard or something. And in the middle of all this is us, you and I, and our IT guys from UMKC who are wonderful, who can fix a lot of stuff. And so are the IT guys at Top Hat. They help me out too. Okay? So that's how that works. All right, so we all know about late work now. You won't be able to do it until you ask for an extension. I'll give you an extension more than likely. All right? Because a computer grades it. That's one of the main reasons we've always had due dates for homework. It was one to get you to do it so that you're ready for an exam or something like that, so that you've studied, to force you to study. And secondly, is because we had TAs or the actual professor, or in high school, your teacher, bless their hearts, actually had to grade that stuff. And if you got a bunch of stuff coming in late, then all of a sudden you've got more, and you're collecting the stuff that's on time. So you just go, no, if you can't get it in on time, just don't bother. I used to be that way when I was a high school teacher. You missed that one, sorry. And you give students, like 3 or 4 misses. That's why you fix it. Fix that. But all right. So, and we and so I've talked about everything. I think we're good. Some of you are, there's one or two, I've gotten a couple emails from students that are just, I'm completely lost. Part of it might be that you joined late and you missed, and when you, because here's part of the problem is all this introduction stuff up here, which I can see. If you've joined late or you missed that assignment, it's not there. And so you're jumping right into this part, into the part 3 in the quiz, and no wonder you're confused and late. All right. And I can Zoom on Tuesday afternoons and maybe a little bit on Tuesday mornings, like around 11. But for the most part, that's for personal, for like office hours type stuff. All right. So I just wanted you to see my face, know that I'm still alive, that there's not, it's just some machine, the machine running this. No, I'm running this best I can, and you guys are doing great so far. All right. So that'll do. So new assignment, due November 11th, 11:59 p.m. And it's I've given you all of chapter 2 to do. And it's, if you've had physics before in high school, it'll be a snap. If you haven't, it'll be not easy, but doable. And you'll be like, cool, I'm smart. Yes, you are. Okay? All right. Out here, stay safe out there.